Game design at IO Interactive is evolving quite a lot actually these days. I've been here for a long time, and in the beginning we didn't even have game designers as a specific field. We had level designers that we've had for a long time, and I actually started as a level designer. But then as time progressed, the need for more and more new features and actually designing these became so big that we needed more dedicated people for it. So there we introduced game designers, and as time has come by, it's a studio that also been concentrating more and more on game design, and the projects that we are doing feel like it's more gameplay driven than it has been before. Like the Hitman games have also been story driven before for a long time ago, but they've also progressed into something where the features had a lot more to say about moment-to-moment gameplay, really, and therefore the need for game designers that were specific to that field, or designers that were specific to that field, kind of rose a lot. And I think we see it in the latest Hitman titles. So in that regard, we have a lot more focus on that, and with that has also come more specialized game design position here, which Andy can also talk a lot more too, but we are hiring more specific combat designers and progression designers and 3Cs designers and whatnot, where before we've only had these generic game designers. But that it's super cool also from an old rat perspective here. We get new talent in where we can learn a lot from these guys, because we've never been that specialized in these different things, right? So that it's just a cool place to live in.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of interesting to hear, because I've been here for like half a year, maybe a little bit less, right? And I'm a game designer, but I have a specialization, like more of a progression, kind of a shaping player journey, right? But yeah, I mean, at least from what I'm looking at, the projects that are being developed, we cannot talk about them, of course, but it seems that that the profile is kind of broadening and opening, right? Like we're working on different games than what the previous portfolio of the studio was, right? And that kind of requires, as you mentioned, people that have different backgrounds, different expertises, right? So, and that's been pretty wild, and because that touches not only on creating the experience itself, but also sometimes reshaping the way you think about the engine and the tools that you have, right? Because sometimes you were doing something on the Hitman project or maybe some other stuff in a very specific way, but now you need to do a different game, and what you have doesn't support that, right? So it's also kind of a designer's job to help with kind of changing this and helping adjust the way everybody works, the pipelines, the tech, to the new ways, right? And I think this is super interesting, and it's super rewarding as well, to come as a person, in a very humble way, because you're going into a studio that has a very established way of making games, and they know how stuff is done, and they do it very well, right? But you also feel that there's something that they want to learn, right? And there's something that you can bring into the table, right? Which is like, it feels really, just feels good.
Yeah, I think you say it there. I think it also comes from a realization that we want to make the best games in the industry, right? And with that comes fields that we are not necessarily the experts in, and we need some help from outside. And then it's just hire that, get it in here, and create the best games that we can do with that. It's obviously like all game designers can do. I could do a progression design, but it's probably not as good as you could do it. Maybe not.
That's a lot of pressure now.
You have to live up to
it. All good.
But yeah, it's just good to get that expertise in to actually have a much higher chance of creating that top level game that we are aiming for.
Good advice for game designers joining IO. One thing I would say is to have an open mind. I mean, a lot of times, and I do I guess that as well. I have certain principles that I believe in, or that I think is a must, and others might have some other ways of a game should be like this or should be like that, where you can be very predetermined almost, and because the projects change and also the world changes with what is needed for games. That these predetermined ideas about how a game should be can get outdated. And I think keeping an open mind and trying to think, what have I not seen before, and still there's a lot of stuff that this works and this doesn't work, but trying to keep possibilities for new stuff to come in, I think would be a good advice.
And I think as an extension of that, being good at listening to other people, and not only other game designers, not only people within your own discipline, but like be able to communicate and keep an open mind to like the great solution can come from anyone. So listen and talk to people, engage in conversations, and keep an open mind. I think that's good advice.
And then, of course, also be persuasive if you believe very strongly in something, right? But instead of trying to just force it through, then try to get people on board from them suddenly understanding why this would be so awesome. I think that's the way to get something really good in. Is being able to convince other people why this is actually a pretty neat idea.